Alternative forms of the energy equation. So we know now that we've got an equation E equals half CV squared. We know the equation Q equals CV. So we want to derive two more equations that are given to us there. You don't need to know the derivations, but you do need to know the equations because they will help you with working out the energy. So first of all, we want to derive the equation E equals half QV. So if we start with E equals half CV squared. So if we sort of expand that a little bit, we know that that means half CV times V, because V squared is just V times V. We also know Q equals CV. So we can replace a CV with Q. So we end up with E equals half QV. So that one's a nice, easy one. The other one, so we want to derive Q squared over 2C. So again, we'll start with E equals half CV squared. Then what we'll do is we'll expand it again. So E equals half CVV. So we can get back to E equals half QV by replacing CV by Q. We also know that V equals Q over C because that's just a rearrangement of Q equals CV. So E equals half Q over C. And if we just neaten that up, E equals half Q squared over C, or it's written as Q squared over 2C. Doesn't really matter, both work. Okay, so what I've written at the bottom is a summary of equations that are related to capacitors. So Q equals CV, Q equals IT, E equals half CV squared, E equals half QV, and E equals Q squared over 2C. I've written here, which is quite important, there is an equation that's very similar to half QV, E equals half QV, and it's W equals QV from your particles in magnetic fields unit. Please do not get these mixed up. E equals half QV is only for capacitors, does not work with anything else. So if you start using that with something else, you will get wrong answers. So please don't get those mixed up. So just depending on what you've been given in the question will depend on which equation you use. So if you're given C and V, you'd use half CV squared. If you're given Q and V, you'd use half QV. If you're given Q and C, you'd use Q squared over 2C. So that's a nice summary of equations that you might need to use. The rest of this booklet is some theory that I will let you read yourself, just one page, and then I want you to do some questions.